The faint smell of rain-soaked grass drifted through the open window of the Harper family's modest single-story home in a small Oregon town, where Ethan sat at the edge of his narrow bed, the late afternoon light filtering through a cracked window pane, casting jagged shadows across the faded blue walls, his hazel eyes scanning a scholarship acceptance letter from a prestigious university in Seattle. The paper trembling slightly in his hands, his heart racing with a mix of pride and secrecy. His small bedroom, a cluttered sanctuary of books and worn-out sneakers, a stark contrast to the polished chaos of the rest of the house. His hazel eyes, heavy with the weight of a childhood spent in the shadows, always the overlooked child, the second fiddle to his younger brother Lucas, the golden child who could do no wrong, his hazel eyes softening as he remembered the countless times his parents, Mark and Susan, dismissed his achievements, a straight-A report card in third grade earning a curt, "That's nice," from Susan. While Lucas's messy finger painting was proudly displayed on the fridge, his hazel eyes clouding with hurt as he recalled family trips dictated by Lucas's whims, dinners where his preferences were ignored, moments where he felt like a ghost. In his own home, his hazel eyes narrowing as he thought of Lucas, a spoiled brat who'd grown into a bully, taking Ethan's toys, mocking his shyness, making his life a living hell, all while Mark and Susan turned a blind eye. Their favoritism, a bitter pill Ethan had swallowed for years, his hazel eyes glistening with determination as he folded the letter, tucking it into a hidden drawer beneath a pile of old notebooks. He'd worked too hard for this scholarship. Late nights studying while Lucas partied, endless applications while his brother coasted through life, his hazel eyes steady as he remembered the day Mark and Susan sat him down, their voices firm. "We think you should go to the local college. It'll be better for Lucas if you don't outshine him." Their words a cold slap, Lucas's academic mediocrity a burden Ethan was expected to bear, his hazel eyes darkening with resentment as he stood, the floorboards creaking under his weight. He'd nodded that day, pretending to agree, telling them he'd live in the dorms at the local college. But it was a lie, his hazel eyes glinting with a quiet rebellion as he packed his bags in secret. Moving to Seattle under the guise of attending the local school, the scholarship covering most of his tuition, the prestigious university offering a fast-tracked finance degree in just 2 years, his hazel eyes softening with pride as he thought of his life now, 2 years later, graduated with honors, working a 6-figure job at a tech firm in Seattle, his small apartment a testament to his independence, his hazel eyes steady as he glanced at his phone, a recent bank transfer from Mark, still believing Ethan was a struggling student at the local college, the money a small retribution for years of neglect, his hazel eyes clouding with a mix of guilt and satisfaction as he leaned back against the wall, the rain outside a steady rhythm. He hadn't told them the truth, hadn't spoken to them much in 3 years, only the occasional call or holiday visit to keep up appearances, his hazel eyes glistening with a quiet resolve. He'd built a life far from their toxicity, a life where he wasn't just a prop in Lucas's story, a life where he could finally breathe, but deep down, his hazel eyes reflecting the dim light, he knew the past wasn't done with him. He knew his family's drama would find a way to pull him back, wondering how long he could keep his secret, wondering if they'd ever see him for who he'd become, wondering if he'd ever truly escape the shadow of their favoritism. The distant hum of Seattle traffic filtered through the half-open window of Ethan's small apartment, the early morning light spilling across the hardwood floor, painting golden streaks over a stack of finance reports on the coffee table, where Ethan sat on a worn-out armchair, his hazel eyes scanning an email from his boss about a potential promotion, a faint smile tugging at his lips. His new life in Seattle a quiet triumph. His tech job a 6-figure escape from the toxic shadow of his family back in Oregon. His hazel eyes steady with the pride of a man who'd built everything from scratch, the scholarship, the early graduation, the independence, all while his parents, Mark and Susan, still believed he was a struggling student at the local college, his hazel eyes softening as he thought of the past 3 years, limited contact with his family, only the occasional call or holiday visit to keep up appearances. Their ignorance of his success, a small act of rebellion, his hazel eyes clouding with a mix of guilt and relief as he sipped his coffee, the bitter taste grounding him. But that peace shattered with a sharp ring from his phone, his hazel eyes narrowing as he saw Mark's name on the screen. A rare call from his father, the man who'd spent Ethan's childhood ignoring him in favor of Lucas, his hazel eyes darkening. With suspicion as he answered, Mark's voice gruff. "Ethan, we need you to come home. Lucas is getting married, and we want the whole family there." The words a sudden jolt, Ethan's hazel eyes widening with a flicker of emotion. For a moment, he felt seen, wanted, his father's acknowledgement stirring a longing he'd buried. Deep, his hazel eyes glistening with a fragile hope as Mark continued, "It's a big day for Lucas. We need you there a few days early to help with preparations. You're part of this family." The sentiment almost too good to be true. Ethan's hazel eyes clouding with doubt as he remembered the years of neglect, the way Mark and Susan had always put Lucas first, the way they'd forced him to dim his own light so Lucas could shine. His hazel eyes narrowing as he replied, "I'll think about it." His voice cautious, the call ending with an uneasy silence, his hazel eyes steady as he set the phone down, the city waking up outside his window. But the doubt lingered, his hazel eyes darkening with suspicion as he replayed Mark's words, the sudden need for him to be there, the insistence on family. It didn't add up. His hazel eyes flashing with a bitter memory of Lucas's bullying, the way he'd made Ethan's childhood a living hell, the way Mark and Susan had enabled it. Their favoritism, a wound that had never fully healed. His hazel eyes steady as he decided to text Mark, "I can't make it, I'm busy." His words firm, a small act of defiance, but the response came quickly. Susan's messages flooding his phone. "Ethan, how could you miss Lucas's special day?" Her tone manipulative. "Don't you want to be there for your brother? He'd be so disappointed." Her words a guilt trip, Ethan's hazel eyes glinting with a cold resolve as he ignored them. But Mark's call came next, his voice sharp. "If you don't show up for the wedding, we'll stop paying your tuition. We can't have people talking about how one of our sons didn't show." The threat a twisted attempt to control him, Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with a sharp laugh, the absurdity of it all hitting him like a wave. They didn't even know. He'd graduated. Didn't know he was making more than Mark ever would. Didn't know their money meant nothing to him now. His hazel eyes narrowing as he replied, "Go ahead. Stop paying. I'm not coming." His voice unyielding. Mark's response a furious rant. "You're ungrateful. Always been difficult. We'll pull your name from the local college, teach you a lesson." The threat hollow. Ethan's hazel eyes glistening with a mix of anger and amusement as he ended the call. The city outside his window a reminder of the life he'd built. A life where he wasn't just a prop in Lucas's story. A life where he could say no. His hazel eyes steady as he leaned back, the coffee growing cold in his hand. He hadn't told them the truth, hadn't revealed his success, and he wouldn't. Not yet. His hazel eyes clouding with unease as he thought of their desperation, their need to maintain appearances, their willingness to threaten him just to save face, wondering what they'd do when they realized their threats meant nothing, wondering how far they'd go to pull him back into their drama, wondering if he'd ever truly be free of their grip. The faint buzz of a ceiling fan filled the quiet of Ethan's Seattle apartment, the midday sun streaming through the blinds, casting striped shadows across the hardwood floor, where Ethan stood by the kitchen counter, his hazel eyes fixed on a half-eaten sandwich, his phone on the counter buzzing relentlessly with missed calls from Mark. His father's persistence a grating reminder of the drama he'd tried to leave behind. His hazel eyes steady with the resolve of a man who'd built a life far from the toxicity of his family in Oregon. His tech job a six-figure triumph, his early graduation a silent rebellion. His hazel eyes softening as he thought of the peace he'd found, the promotion on the horizon, the freedom to live without being Lucas's shadow. But that peace shattered with a sharp ring. Mark's name on the screen again. his hazel eyes darkening with irritation as he answered Mark's voice. A furious shout, "Ethan, where the hell have you been?" The accusation hitting like a storm. "I went to the local college to pull your name. They said you were never enrolled. What did you do with the money we sent you?" His tone a mix of rage and humiliation. Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with a sharp laugh. The absurdity of Mark's tantrum almost comical. His hazel eyes narrowing as he leaned against the counter, the truth bubbling up like a wave he couldn't hold back. "I haven't been at the local college. I graduated a year ago on a scholarship from a university in Seattle." His voice calm, deliberate. Mark's silence on the other end heavy. Ethan's hazel eyes glinting with a bitter satisfaction. As he continued, "And that money you sent, it's been helpful, but I don't need it anymore. I'm making more than you ever will, a 6-figure salary, a life you couldn't give me." The words a final blow. Mark's response a furious eruption. "You traitor, you kept us in the dark after everything we did for you?" His voice a twisted version of reality. Ethan's hazel eyes darkening with disbelief. The audacity of Mark's words a bitter sting. "Everything you did for me. You mean ignoring me for years, making me live in Lucas's shadow, forcing me to dim my light so he could shine?" His voice rising, unapologetic. Mark's reply sharp. "You owe us. You're part of this family. You need to come to Lucas's wedding. Make sure there's no scandal, no gossip." The manipulation, a desperate plea, Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with a cold resolve as he shot back. "I don't owe you anything. I'm done pretending we're a happy family for your image." His words a line in the sand. Mark's tone frantic. "You're my son. You have to be there for your brother's wedding." The emotional blackmail. A familiar tactic. Ethan's hazel eyes steady as he replied. "You've only ever had one son. The one you cared about, Lucas. I'm done with this drama." His voice unyielding, Mark's voice trembling with anger. "You'll regret this. We'll cut you off completely." The threat hollow, Ethan's hazel eyes glistening with a mix of fury and liberation as he ended the call, his finger hovering over the block button, the silence that followed a powerful release. His hazel eyes reflecting the sunlight as he pressed block. Mark's number disappearing from his life, the city outside his window bustling with life. A reminder of the world he'd built, a world where he wasn't just a prop in Lucas's story, a world where he could stand tall, his hazel eyes steady as he thought of the years he'd given them, the childhood he'd lost to their favoritism, the freedom he'd fought for. He didn't regret a single word, not the truth, not the defiance, not the choice to walk away. His hazel eyes clouding with unease as he wondered what Mark would do. Next, wondered how Susan and Lucas would react to his rebellion, wondered if cutting them off would finally set him free, or if their toxicity would find a way to seep back into his life. The soft patter of rain against the window pane echoed through Ethan's Seattle apartment, the late evening sky a muted gray, casting a dim glow over the minimalist living room where Ethan sat on his couch, his hazel eyes staring at a muted TV screen, a news report about a local tech conference flickering in the background, his mind elsewhere, his phone on the cushion beside him, silenced since blocking Mark's number a month ago, his hazel eyes steady with the quiet satisfaction of a man who'd cut ties with his toxic family, his tech job thriving, a recent promotion making his 6-figure salary even sweeter, his life in Seattle a sanctuary he'd fought for, his hazel eyes softening as he thought of the freedom he'd gained. No more guilt trips, no more drama, just the space to build a future on his terms. But that peace shattered with a call from an unknown number, his hazel eyes narrowing as he hesitated, the ringing a grating intrusion, his hazel eyes darkening with suspicion as he answered, Susan's voice trembling on the other end. "Ethan, it's... Mom, I miss you so much. I just want my son back." Her words a sudden jolt, her sobs heavy, Ethan's hazel eyes widening with a flicker of emotion, the longing for a family stirring deep within him, his hazel eyes glistening with a fragile hope as Susan continued. "I don't care what you or your dad did. None of it matters. I just want you to be part of this family again." the sentiment almost too good to be true. Ethan's hazel eyes clouding with doubt as he remembered the years of neglect, the way Susan had always chosen Lucas over him, the way she'd ignored his pain to prop up her golden child. His hazel eyes narrowing as he replied, "I'll call you later." His voice cautious, ending the call with an uneasy silence, his hazel eyes steady as he set the phone down, the rain outside a steady rhythm. But the doubt lingered, his hazel eyes darkening with suspicion as he decided to dig deeper. Texting his Aunt Clara, Susan's sister, to find out what was really going on. Clara's reply swift. "Ethan, things are a mess. Lucas's wedding was a disaster," her message a bombshell, Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with disbelief as Clara explained, the wedding never happened. Lucas's fiancé a fraud who'd convinced the family to invest their savings in a fake opportunity. Disappearing with the money, leaving them broke, Mark's business crumbling after a scandal with an employee, the family forced to use their house as collateral for a loan, only to lose it, now living in a dilapidated trailer, Ethan's hazel, eyes glinting with a bitter satisfaction as Clara added, "They're fighting with Lucas now. They blame him for everything." The irony, a twisted justice, Lucas, the golden child, now the source of their ruin. Ethan's hazel eyes darkening, with realization as he leaned back, the pieces falling into place. Susan didn't miss him, didn't want him back for love. They needed him. They'd heard of his success, saw him as a safety net, his hazel eyes flashing with a cold resolve as he blocked the unknown number. Susan's sobs a manipulation he wouldn't fall for, his hazel eyes steady as he thought of the years he'd given them, the childhood he'd lost to their favoritism, the pain of being invisible while Lucas was their world. He wouldn't let them drag him back into their mess, his hazel eyes glistening with a mix of anger and triumph as he stood, the rain outside a cleansing rhythm. He'd seen through their lies, seen the truth of their desperation, seen the cost of their favoritism, his hazel eyes reflecting the dim light as he turned off the TV, the silence a powerful release. He was done with their drama, done with their toxicity, done with being their fallback, his hazel eyes steady as he walked to the window. The city lights of Seattle, a reminder of the life he'd built, a life where he wasn't just a wallet, a life where he could finally be free. But deep down, his hazel eyes clouding with unease, he knew they wouldn't stop, knew their desperation would drive them to try again, wondering how far they'd go to pull him back, wondering if their ruin would ever make them see their mistakes, wondering if he'd ever truly escape their shadow. The crisp Seattle air carried the scent of pine and damp pavement through the open window of Ethan's apartment, the late morning light filtering through the blinds, casting a warm glow over the hardwood floor where Ethan stood by the kitchen counter, his hazel eyes scanning a grocery list on his phone, a small smile playing on his lips, his life a quiet triumph after a month of silence from his family, his tech job thriving with a recent promotion, his six-figure salary a testament to the independence he'd fought for, his hazel eyes steady with the pride of a man who'd built a future free from the toxicity of his past in Oregon, his hazel eyes softening as he thought of the peace he'd found, the freedom to live without being Lucas's shadow, the space to dream of a family of his own one day. But that peace shattered with a sharp knock on his door, his hazel eyes narrowing with suspicion as he set the phone down. The sound an unwelcome intrusion. His hazel eyes darkening as he opened the door, Mark and Susan standing there, faces a mix of desperation and false warmth. "Ethan, we've come to talk." Mark's voice strained, Susan's eyes red from crying, Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with a cold fury as he stepped back. "How did you even find me?" His tone sharp, Mark's reply evasive. "We asked around. Doesn't matter. We're family." The words a hollow excuse, Ethan's hazel eyes darkening with realization as Lucas appeared behind them, his face a mask of forced remorse. "I miss my big brother. I just want us to be close again." His voice a mockery of sincerity, Ethan's hazel eyes glinting with a bitter laugh as he remembered the years of bullying. The way Lucas had made his childhood a living hell, the way Mark and Susan had enabled it, their favoritism, a wound that had never healed, his hazel eyes narrowing as Susan pleaded, "We're in trouble, Ethan. We've lost everything. The house, our savings. We spent our last money to come here. You're our son. You have to help us." Her words a desperate manipulation, Ethan's hazel eyes flashing with a fierce resolve as he shot back. "You lost everything because of your choices, not mine. I'm not your safety net," his voice unyielding. Mark's tone turning sharp. "You owe us. We raised you. You're the eldest. It's your responsibility." The entitlement a bitter sting. Ethan's hazel eyes steady as he replied, "You raised me to be invisible. You only cared about Lucas. I owe you nothing." His words a final line in the sand, Lucas's voice trembling. "Mom and Dad might cut me off. They blame me for the wedding. I need you, big brother." The plea a twisted lie, Ethan's hazel eyes darkening with disgust as he remembered the scam, the way Lucas's fiancée had taken their savings, the way their favoritism had led to their ruin, his hazel eyes glinting with a cold satisfaction as he stepped forward. "If any of you come back, I'll call the police. I'm done with this toxic mess." His voice a powerful declaration, Mark's face twisting with anger, Susan's sobs. Growing louder, Lucas's expression a mix of shock and defeat, Ethan's hazel eyes steady as he slammed the door, the sound a resounding end, the silence that followed a powerful release, his hazel eyes reflecting the sunlight as he leaned against the door. The city outside his window, a reminder of the life he'd built, a life where he wasn't just a wallet, a life where he could finally be free, his hazel eyes glistening with a quiet pride as he thought of the years he'd given them, the pain he'd endured, the freedom he'd earned. He didn't regret a single step, not the confrontation, not the defiance, not the choice to cut them off. His hazel eyes steady as he walked to the window, the Seattle skyline a symbol of his new beginning. He was free, truly free from their toxic grip, ready to live for himself, ready to build a life with people who valued him for who he was, not what he could give. His hazel eyes reflecting the clear sky, a new chapter unfolding, one where he'd never look back, one where he'd finally found peace, one where he was enough, just as he was.